the Lions put DJ Reed on IR for 4 weeks. Now, from what I read, it said that he thought he tore his hamstring off the bone at first, but it wasn't as bad as they thought. So he gonna be gone for the bare minimum of the next 4 weeks, right? And maybe even longer, but no nor shorter than the next 4 weeks. So they also signed Trey Flowers, who used to be a corner for the Seahawks, under speculation that they may be interested in trading for um, um, Reek Woolen. He used to be Tyreek Woolen. I don't know why he changed his name to Reek Woolen, but yeah, under the impression they was going to trade for him, they pick up Trey Flowers. And that's classic Lions shit, classic Detroit stuff. We want a certain guy, and they go get the great value brand guy. That's always what it is. That's why when the Pistons traded for Rasheed Wallace, I don't know if y'all know where that come from. E40 had a diss towards Rasheed Wallace. Let me talk about that real quick. It was on the Hall of Game, and basically E40, back in the day, West Coast and East Coast, they was beefing, and Rasheed Wallace is from Philly, and most enough he's a Kansas City Chief fan. We play them next week. And then basically he said that he listened to Wu-Tang and East Coast music. He don't really listen to E40. He said he don't fool with the Goody Mobs and the E40s on the interview. So he said he don't really fool with Goody Mobs and the E40s. So E40 responded with a song. I forget the name of the song, and in the song he said Rasheed Wallace. So every time Rasheed Wallace would play in the Bay Area, he would come and they would say Rasheed Wallace. They'd play that sound clip. And Rasheed Wallace talks about it in an interview, honestly. He said he didn't mean to do no harm. You got to remember, too, Biggie almost lost his life out there because he went on a Canadian radio station and he dissed E40. He was drunk and saying E40 was trash. So he was in the Bay Area. They caught Biggie lacking, and they almost sent Biggie to the upper room, and E40 gave him a G pass. real shit. All these real stories. You can look them up. So that's why when Rasheed used to go back to the Bay Area, it's like Rasheed Wallace. They used to play that sound clip every time he did something. Rasheed Wallace. But shit was mad funny. But yeah, but back to DJ Reed. I mean, they always, that's just the Rasheed Wallace trade. That's why everybody was shocked because Detroit teams don't go for the gusto. They don't believe making the big move. All of them is usually cheap, or they're beta males. They don't make boss moves. That's why some people don't believe the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. That's why some people don't believe the Lions really going to make it to the mountaintop because they don't really go for it. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna really go for it and get those big names. Ever since Mike Ilitch died, he was like one of them owners with the wings. He's spin to get a championship. He understood the importance. And the Lions, they don't have an aggressive mindset. So every time you hear a name, just think they're gonna go way under that name. You know what I'm saying? You like, oh man, they gonna get Josh Sweat from the Eagles, and they end up re-signing Marcus Davenport. That's the disappointment. And you look at Philadelphia, they was trying to get Micah Parsons too. They find ways to make things work. They find ways to get A.J. Brown. They find ways to get Saquon Barkley. They find ways to take chances on Jalen Carter. They find ways to draft Cooper DeJean and move up and get Quinyon Mitchell. And that's why they sustain so much success. So when you be, oh man, we can get Reek Woolen, and you get Trey Flowers, that motherfucker on the street. Used to be with the Seattle Seahawks, you know what I'm saying? But then again, it makes a lot of sense because DJ Reed, for the most part, he gonna be gone about 4 weeks. So you just need a little depth there. You got Avonte Maddox, Roxanne, both of them, kind of playing playing safety as well too. You got to meet, Terrion kind of a little shaky right now. He had practice. And it's funny how he go get benched and then the opportunity come right there for him to get another opportunity. So you want to add a little bit of depth there. Obviously, you got BB that can slide and play the nickel. They really thin that safety. You think about, would you bring in back a Gardner Johnson? And I wouldn't be mad about it. His personality is why he on the street though. But would you bring in another corner? There where more you have more flexibility in your secondary. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more flexibility, but this is hopefully this stays temporary. I mean, they're hoping that the Davenport can come back, and then Kirby Joseph, he really ain't been practicing. And then Taylor Decker, I don't know if y'all really peep game. What's going on with him? It's just maintenance. They saying his shoulder. They just allowing the old veteran not to practice and just come show up on game day. I mean, he been here so long before this regime got here. He's gonna be ready on game day. Long as he probably lifting, staying in shape, they not worried about Taylor Decker at all. Ain't shit wrong with his shoulder for real. Taylor Decker is allowed to take it. He's earned the right as a veteran to get special treatment. And that's what Calvin Johnson was talking about some years ago with the Lions, is that, he would go out there with and when he retired, visit different organizations, and they would treat their veterans a different way. Yeah. Once you build up the equity in the league with the team, you should be treated special. I was listening to James Harrison and Joe Hayden's podcast. And my roommate in college, Joe Hayden, was one of his favorite players in college football. And that's how I know so much about him and shit. And he played safety and corner. Joe Hayden played corner. And he was saying that what the Steelers rule was, around the rule around the league when he played in Cleveland was, the night before the game, everybody has to be at the team hotel. Well, no exceptions. The kicker who been here 20 years, the quarterback, everybody had to be at the team hotel. He said when he got to Pittsburgh, once you build up that equity of good conduct, the veterans can go home and show back up on game day. That's how Pittsburgh, treated their veterans. If you didn't, James Harrison gave another side of the story, another look at it. But now I'm happy that they kind of treating they giving maintenance to some of these veterans, and they treating these veterans players better. But with Matt Patricia, it was like, everybody's the same, the Patriot way. And with Dan Campbell, they went with a players coach, who understood it a little bit more. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I expect probably Kirby be out there, Terrion to be out there, and we got to just stay healthy, man. Cincinnati, it might look like an easy win on paper, but it's gonna be 85 degrees out there, and it ain't never easy going against T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. It ain't never easy, man. It's a good bunch. I still like Chase Brown, but we'll see what happens. Hit the link in the description. Follow me on X, Facebook, Instagram, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, everything besides the link tree and my other platforms. Appreciate the love and support. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace.